kiss between Yang Hyunbin and Gong Joo-ah is the emotional reward that relieves the built-up tension of the subplot. The ultimate trap is set. In the latest episode of Prescribing Love, the tension reached a boiling point as the long-awaited confrontation finally arrived. A dangerous game begins. Gong Ki-chul, played by Kim Chong-won, decided to put his life on the line to act as bait for the manipulative Jo Mi-hyang. Trust is a fragile weapon. To lure his adversary, Ki-chul whispered deceptive reassurance to Mi-hyang, claiming she was the only one he truly trusted. The shadows grow long. As the police waited in the wings, the atmosphere grew suffocating, thick with the anticipation of justice being served. The disappearance act. Despite the careful planning, the moment the police moved in, both Ki-chul and Mi-hyang had vanished into thin air. A plot of escape. Mi-hyang revealed her desperate plan to flee the country, completely unaware of the trap closing around her, the ghost in the past. Ki-chul pushed his luck, asking a loaded question. Who was the person I supposedly killed? Lies built on lies. Mi-hyang spun a web of falsehoods, claiming his real name was Jo Moon-sik and insisting that he had killed Ki-chul. Memory cracks the facade. As she detailed the events, the truth began to resurface in Ki-chul's mind, shattering the illusion she tried to create. The mask falls away. With a look of cold realization, Ki-chul stared her down and called her out for exactly what she was, a murderer, arrogance in the face of truth. Undeterred, Mi-hyang brazenly laughed off the accusation, citing that the statute of limitations had long since expired. The weight of a stolen life. Ki-chul's anger boiled over as he retorted that while the law might have a limit, the toll taken on his life never ended. Justice finally arrives. Just as the argument reached its peak, the police swarmed the scene, cornering the villain at last. The final act of defiance. Even as she was placed in handcuffs for attempted murder and illegal confinement, Mi-hyang screamed in protest. A pathetic defense. Her screams echoed through the air, claiming that she had fed and raised them for 30 years, a desperate attempt to justify her crimes. Returning to the fold. Safe at last, Ki-chul returned home to find Na Sun-hae, offering a sincere apology for keeping her waiting so long. A reunion of hearts. Sun-hae, moved by his safe return, brushed aside the weight, expressing only her deep gratitude that he was back. The protective instinct. Yang Hyunbin's mind remained fixated on Gong Joo-ah, terrified by the danger she had narrowly escaped. Reading between the lines, Joo-ah confronted Hyunbin about his erratic behavior, noting how he had rushed to her side in a panic. A mirror of affection. She teased him for his lack of honesty, pointing out that his actions spoke louder than his stoic expressions. Admitting the truth. Hyunbin countered with his own jab, noting how she had clung to him out of pure terror, revealing their mutual vulnerability. The relief of safety. When word arrived that Mi-hyang had been captured, the tension that had gripped them finally began to melt away. Echoes of the past. In a moment of unguarded intimacy, Hyunbin told her they no longer needed to carry the heavy burden of stress. A ghost of their relationship. The way he spoke, so naturally, felt like a haunting echo of when they were still a couple. The pressure mounts. Meanwhile, Yang Sun-chul, feeling the weight of his failing health, became increasingly desperate about his son's future. Forced urgency. He put immense pressure on Cha Suri, demanding that she hurry the process of getting Hyunbin married. Caught in the middle, Sari found herself in a precarious position, tasked with pushing a man who had zero interest in nuptials. A brick wall. Hyunbin remained steadfast in his refusal, flatly telling his family that marriage was not on his horizon. The complications of love. With the father pushing and the son resisting, Sari felt like she was drowning in the middle of a family feud. Warnings from a mother. Han Sung-mi approached Joo-ah with a sharp inquiry, checking the status of her tangled relationship with Hyunbin. Words of caution. She warned Joo-ah to keep her composure and avoid any behavior that might invite criticism or trouble. A heavy burden. Sung-mi emphasized how draining that woman could be, warning that the emotional toll was simply too high. A shared sentiment. Joo-ah could only nod in agreement, confessing that she felt the exact same way about the situation. Promises made. She vowed to Sungmi that she would keep a distance and try not to let the chaos disrupt her life further. A professional victory. Amidst the personal drama, Hyunbin finally succeeded in closing a major business deal with the mysterious representative Oh. The seeds of a bet. This success brought back the memory of a previous, playful challenge he had set with Jua. High stakes, low stakes. He had asked her what she would do if he caught the representative, leading to a strange and flirtatious wager. A kiss as currency. Jua had teasingly suggested a deep kiss as a penalty, the very thing she claimed to hate the most. The moment of reckoning. Meeting with Hyunbin after the deal, Jua felt a flutter of nervous excitement mixed with dread. Calling the bluff, she jokingly asked if he called her out just to collect on that specific, absurd prize. A playful challenge. Hyunbin didn't hesitate, confirming that he saw the kiss as the proper punishment for his victory. Testing the boundaries. He leaned in, challenging her claim that she hated the idea, daring her to see if she really meant it. The kiss of contention. As they leaned in, the air grew electric, and for a fleeting moment, the world around them stopped. Reality crashes in. As their lips finally met, the voices of their mothers, full of warnings and disapproval, flooded back into Jua's mind. The withdrawal. Reality became too much to bear, and Jua abruptly pushed Hyunbin away, ending the contact. Lingering questions. The episode ended with an uncomfortable silence, leaving viewers wondering what happens when family duty clashes with the heart. The cycle of drama. This episode perfectly captured the prescribing love style, mixing high-stakes criminal plots with deeply personal romantic entanglements. Kim Chong-won's masterclass. His portrayal of man reclaiming his stolen life added a layer of gravitas that grounded the more romantic subplots. The antagonist's end, Mi Yang's capture, while satisfying, feels like it might have opened the door for even more complicated fallout in future episodes. The chemistry tests. Park Ki-woong and Jin Se-yeon continue to excel at portraying the friction of ex-lovers who cannot seem to let go. The parenting trap. The interference of the parents remains the biggest hurdle for our main couple, representing the societal pressures they face. A shift in tone. The show successfully pivots from the high tension of a police investigation to the quiet, intimate bedroom scenes between our leads. The weight of legacy. The constant mention of 30 years highlights the deep-seated grievances that fuel the characters' erratic actions. The irony of the bet. It is classic romantic comedy trope material, but here it is executed with enough character depth to make it feel fresh. The lingering trauma. Even after the villain is caught, the emotional scars on the characters suggest that the healing process has barely begun. The danger of secrets. So many of the conflicts in this episode stem from people keeping things from each other rather than being honest. The silent observers. Characters like Saeri represent the audience's perspective, watching as the protagonists make choices that seem destined for failure. The power of a title. The show's title, Prescribing Love, implies that love is a medicine, but this episode suggests it can be a poison as well. The visual storytelling. The director continues to use close-ups during the more emotional scenes, forcing the audience to stare into the characters' souls. A turning point. By having Jua push Hyunbin away, the writers have set up a new dynamic where she is in control of the emotional narrative. Predicting the future. Fans are already speculating whether the kiss will be the catalyst of their reunion or the final straw that tears them apart. The father's desperation. Sun Chul's health issues serve as a ticking clock, adding a sense of urgency to the romantic plot that wouldn't be there otherwise. The mother's role. Sunmi acts as the voice of reason, though her advice is clearly ignored by the young lovers. Balancing the genres. KBS weekend dramas have a specific formula, and this episode hit every beat required of the genre. The villain victim. Is Mi Yang truly a victim of her own twisted reality, or is she merely a calculated manipulator? The power of apologies. The scene between Ki-chul and Sun-hae was a quiet highlight, showing that there is still room for tenderness. The symbolism of the kiss. Was it an act of love, or was it a power move by Hyunbin to assert dominance over their complicated past? The audience reaction. Social media was buzzing with fans dissecting every word of the dialogue during the climactic scene. The pacing of the show, despite 100 paragraphs of analysis, the episode itself moved with breakneck speed, leaving very little time for downtime. The legal drama, the police procedural elements added a nice layer of grit, keeping the plot from becoming too saccharine. The moral dilemmas. Each character is forced to choose between what is right for themselves and what is right for their family. The actor's craft. Watching veteran actors like Kim Chong-won interact with a younger cast brings a level of prestige to the show. The unresolved tension. We still don't know what the consequences of the bet will be on their professional lives. The setting's influence. The domestic spaces in the show act as stages where secrets are revealed and hearts are broken. The music's role. The underscore during the kiss scene perfectly captured the confusion and longing felt by both characters. The recurring themes, betrayal, stolen identity, and the restorative power of love are woven into the very DNA of this episode. The next steps. With Mi-hyang gone, the show must now focus entirely on the complicated romantic path ahead for our leads. The emotional payoff. Seeing the relief on their faces when they realize they are finally safe was the most human moment of the show. The critique of marriage. Through Hyun-bin, the show asks hard questions about why society insists on marriage as a cure for all relationship woes. The strength of the writing, dialogue that is both sharp and filled with subtext, is what makes Prescribing Love stand out from the pack. The contrast of styles. The frantic energy of the police chase versus the slow, lingering heat of the kiss shows great editing balance. The mystery of Representative O. While the deal was closed, we still don't know the full extent of who this person really is. The evolution of Ju-ah. She is no longer the timid woman from the start. She is learning to stand up for her own happiness. The stubbornness of Hyun-bin. His refusal to play by the rules is frustrating, but adds a necessary spark of rebellion to the story. The family legacy. How much of the parents' past trauma is destined to be repeated by the next generation? The joy of the chase. The thriller aspect of catching the criminal was a refreshing break from the domestic bickering. The emotional labor. Women in this show are clearly doing the heavy lifting, both in their careers and in their relationships. The lingering gaze. The camera lingered on their faces just a second too long, telling the audience exactly what they were feeling without a single word. The ending's cliffhanger. By ending on rejection, the writers have ensured that the audience will be tuning in next week without fail. A masterclass in tension. This episode proved that you don't need explosions to create drama. You just need two people who are afraid to love. The complexity of the antagonist. Mi-hyang, while clearly the villain, provides a dark mirror for the trauma the other characters are suffering. The importance of support. Ki-chul's friends and family are the backbone that keeps him from spiraling during his dark moments. The chemistry of the leads. They have that spark that cannot be written. It has to be performed, and they do it perfectly. The social commentary. The show touches on the harsh realities of the Korean entertainment and broadcast industry subtly. The weight of expectations. Everyone has a plan for Hyun-bin, and his defiance is the core conflict of the season. The beauty of the mundane. Even when they're arguing, there's a sense of domesticity that suggests they really do belong together. The promise of closure. The arrest feels like the end of a chapter, allowing the characters to move into a new, more hopeful phase. The endurance of love. No matter the obstacles, the bond between the leads remains the driving force of the story. Final reflections. This was an episode that offered high stakes, emotional depth, and a promise of better things to come. The journey continues. As the credits roll, the real question remains. Can they finally stop playing games and start being honest with one another? Justice has been served, but the real drama is just beginning. Don't miss the fallout of that life-changing kiss and the next chapter of their journey. Catch the latest episode of Prescribing Love, streaming now on KBS 2 TV.